Now we move to the random access memory, what we call the RAM. Now, this is a data, storage format. The RAM is described as the primary memory storage in a computer. Now, for all the things that we do once we get onto the computer, all the things that we do, now the RAM, random access memory, is the primary storage. That is where we pick up the information that we have put on the computer and manipulate it. Now, it's called random because you can pick up anything that you need on that system to manipulate the data that you have put on there. It is interesting to note that the memory, therefore, used as, the memory that is on the RAM is used as a temporary means of storing data and instructions. Okay? Temporary, please be mindful of the word temporary, so that at any point in time, you could easily lose that memory. An example is when you're typing in something, you're creating a letter or you're creating a document. If you keep typing and suddenly maybe there's a power cut and you haven't saved this document, you would notice that this document could easily disappear. Now, that is the RAM for you. It's just the primary storage. Now, there are other storage facilities that we can talk about where you can actually save this thing, because so then in case there is any power outage, you could go back and then fetch what you have actually been working on. So the RAM actually, the temporary, the storing the instructions that they use, and these that the RAM uses includes the data awaiting processing, instructions used to process data or control the computer system, data or information that has been processed. Now, one interesting fact is that while the RAM as the primary storage in the computer can run very fast and you can pick up stuff at any time you want from all parts of the computer, it is interesting to note that in a sense it is also very volatile, like I said, because it's a primary storage. Okay? It's volatile in the sense, as I explained earlier, that if we do not store the things that we have put on the system whilst we are creating it, like the document, we could easily lose it. It's volatile in case of a power ejection, power trip or power loss. Now, this data that we have put there could easily be lost on us. So apart from the random access memory, the RAM being the primary storage, there are other storage devices, okay, on which we could store this data so we do not lose them. Now, these include the hard disk, which is used as a second storage on any computer. And then we have others like external disks that we could use. CDs, the CDs are quite old. I wonder how many people use them now, and DVDs. But then we have the flash drives, the flash memory. We have the pen drives or storage units, which can be accessed by the computer only when plugged in. So we have other storage facilities that we could, store our information on so we don't lose them. But you can only access these if you have connected it to the computer, i.e. if you have put your information on your pen drive. Now you hold it. The pen drive on its own cannot give you the information, but once you connect it to the computer, you can retrieve all that you have stored on it. Same with the external drive or the hard disk. Now, with the hard disk, which is in the computer, that is a secondary storage, facility. So with that one, you can access it once you have stored and saved your information on them. So next, we would like to talk about input devices. Now, input devices, the information we put on computers are basically held in human sensible, formats. So we type into a computer maybe certain thoughts or certain figures, and we want the system maybe to add up these figures or to create a document for us. And so input devices are basically the devices which we use to input human sensible information, the things that we want to input into the computer. Now, once we do this, we need to use these devices to make the inputs into the computer. Now, such examples of such devices are keyboards, which we use to type, the mouse, which we can use to, copy and paste, make actions on the keyboard, on the desktop. Then we have the joysticks, which we use to manipulate, like in playing games and all that. And image scanners, the scanners that we use to scan documents and show them on the desktop so that we can manipulate them. Now, these are all basic input devices. Now, for the output devices, these are the device, once we have put the information into the computer, we require certain results. Now, these results come out through the output devices. So we say that the output devices translate the results of processing, that is the output, into human readable form. This time is coming from the machine, but it converts it into a human readable form for us as we require. Now, examples of such output devices are the printer, the monitor, the speakers, and a headset. So we use speakers, we play music on the computer, but then the speakers bring out the music through the music comes out to us through speakers and headsets. Okay, the monitor is once we produce the documents that we can read on the monitor as we see, or look at pictures, or anything that we've things that we have created, we can see from these output devices. So like I said again, examples of these output devices are the printer, monitor, the speakers, and headsets. So in this slide, you can see some input devices and output devices. They've been put in sets, but interesting to note in the middle that some of these devices have dual purposes. They could be input and output devices. I think it's easier for you to know where these two sets have locked in. You can look at like an example like the disk. So it could be an input device and also an output device. So from now on, we have looked at the hardware, the tangibles, which we have talked about. And so we'll move on to the software aspects of the computer, the non-tangible ones, the ones that we cannot see. So